Right, hi, good afternoon. This is our presentation on the Lexis Digital Library. So these brown bag presentations are here so you all to prepare you for midterms. And so the Lexis Digital Library contains a lot of study guides, the free study access to study aids that will help you all prepare for your exams. So now I'm going to turn it over to Lexis Representative Adriana Ramirez, and she's going to go.
All right, hi everyone. I'm going to show you the easiest ways to access the Lexis Digital Library. Typically, you either have it saved already if you've already accessed it or not. There is a specific website for it, but you can access it from Lexis. So a couple things to note. I'm going to go back to the Lexis homepage. When you sign in, you're going to have to go to Lexis Plus to be able to access the digital library. But I thought I had put a link here, but I don't see it here. This is a faculty ID. On your ID, under upcoming training, there should be a link that has kind of a PDF on digital library, but I'll show you the easiest way to access it. When you log into Lexis, you're going to click Go to Lexis Plus. That'll take you to the research page, which you're already familiar with. So right up at the top, under these 9 little dots, looks like a little Rubik's Cube. If you click on that, there's access to the Lexis Digital Library right from the product switcher. So when you click on the digital library, it's going to have you sign in, which I'm about to do. I didn't have time to sign in. So give me a second and sign in. You're going to sign in with your network ID and password. It actually remembered me because I'd signed in already before. But it's going to sign in with your ID and password or that you normally sign in when you're looking at your school email. So that would be your network password and ID. When you're here, and it might be Katrina's, yeah, it looks like it remembered Katrina's information. So it logged me in, which is great. So when you're here, things to note, and if you forget everything I showed you, just so you know, right up at the top, when you create an account, once you created it on your laptop or wherever you signed in, it'll remember and it'll sign you back in. But if you open this up and you click on help, there are little videos on how to get started, etc. So you can always learn the ins and outs of using the digital library just by going to your account. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna close that. So back on the digital library home, it's very easy to use. I mean, it's very simple. You can search by a title or search by a practice area. You can search different ways, right? An author if you're looking for something specific. But you can also browse the library. So as you can see, there's nothing here yet, but I can browse the library. This opens up a whole world of all the different types of, books that are here. There's study aids here at the top. And as you go down, you can sort of go down to the different study aids. But there's also like practice books, right? And you can look at all 71 of those. There's a lot here. Legal forms. So you can imagine anything that's published by Lexis or Matthew Bender, which is a Lexis product, you have access to it digitally. And the great thing about it is that there's no waiting line, right? Normally when you go to the library and you pull up the actual physical book, there might be 3 books that are there. You can check these out at any time. And you don't have to wait until someone comes in and checks it back in before you can access it. It's access to everyone at all times. And so you have things like, by practice area, etc. You can also see all 165 titles. If you do that, it sort of breaks them down by topic. So as you're going through again, you can look at all the different titles, etc. The easiest way, I will tell you, to access these things, and I'm going to see if I go at the bottom. The easiest way to access and to find out what is contained there is just to run a search here at the top. So let's say you are going to be, you're in a class and you're about to have a midterm, let's say on criminal law, and I'm just selecting one. You can just type in, is there anything for criminal law, right? And as you search, it will look for anything that it finds, and it found 56 titles. So there are things like, actual books, etc. But there are things like Q&As. And the Q&As are great. Let me explain the difference between the understanding criminal law or any practice area. And it's not just first year. These are books for all of your 3 years of law school, right? So if you're going to be studying for an exam in a particular class and you want to have you may be having trouble understanding a certain concept that a professor explained or whatever, you can go into the understanding series. This would be sort of a treatise like, right? If you go into understanding and you say, okay, I'm gonna check this out, you can view by table of contents. So you can open it up and you can look at the different chapters and say, okay, I want, you know, I want to look at mens rea, right? This is something that a concept or a legal, you know, term that I'm not quite understanding. And you can go there and then open it up. And once you click on that, it'll take you directly into the understanding series section. And you can view that. And it kind of looks, you can decide to look at it different ways. You can set it up however you want. All the settings are here at the bottom. Let me see if I can move this thing. It's kind of in my way. So we'll go to the top. You can view the table of contents at any time. You can check the settings. If you don't like the dual page thing, you can always go to the settings and change the way it looks, the font, the size, etc., the layout, the alignment of the text. You have lots of different ways that you can set it up that in a way that you like it to look, right? And you can see things like there are green links and there are blue links. The blue links will take you back to that place in the actual document itself and in this book. But if you see a green link, when you click on it, it actually takes you into Lexis. So if you were to click on this, it's going to ask you to sign into Lexis and it'll take you directly to that statute or case, etc. So you see it's hyperlinked, okay, which is nice. If you see something or you want to go to the next page, you can just click on the right side or on the left side to go back. You can highlight and add notes. So at any point, there's something there that you want to highlight. You can, you know, add an annotation, add a note, right? Add yourself a little note about why, maybe you have a question. You can always go to your professor and ask that question later on, or email that question to your professor. Let's see. Boy, I'm having trouble here. This thing. You can, and I'm going to close that. I'm not going to save it, or maybe I save it. You can also, from here, change the color of the highlighting. So if you wanted to change it, let's say from yellow to a red or green, there's lots of different options, different colors, pink, peach, orange, pear, mint. So all kinds of things. Let me move this thing out of the way. It just keeps getting in the way of my navigation. But as you can see, there's lots of different options. Now, why is the highlighting and all that important? If after 2 weeks, if you haven't gone into this book, it's going to seem like it's checked back in. So when you log back in, that book, you're like, what happened? Where is it? I'm going to show you how you can create a tag so you can always refer back to the book. But the great thing is, and don't worry, because any of the annotations or any of the highlighting you added to these, it stays, it follows your ID. So the next time I open up this book and I come back to this chapter, my highlighting and my notes are there. Nothing goes away. So whatever you add here is going to be there all 3 years of law school while you're in law school, which is great. You can also find specific language, or like I said, add annotations, or go back to the table of contents at any point and go back to a different, you know, part of the document, etc. Do I have any questions on just sort of navigating this particular understanding series? The same issues, oh, right here at the top, I will say, let me do this. Over here, you can add a bookmark if you want and go back to your bookmarks. Over here on the left-hand side, you can always navigate back to all the bookmarks you set up. You can print certain parts of the book, whatever. So there's lots of different options. Questions? I'm going to close that book. Again, you can navigate by table of contents, or you can even search specific phrases. So if you're looking for something very specific and you don't know what chapter it's in, you can type, you know, just type in a certain search like mens rea. You can search that volume. And if it's a multi-volume set, you can search all the different volumes. It's pretty simple. Yes.
Is there a way to save the books?
So I'm here and I'm going to be coming back to this understanding criminal law a lot, right? It's going to be in my most recent. But if you look here, you'll see something like my tags, right? You can add a tag, and I'm going to create a new tag. I'm going to say, if I already have one set up, I can. I'm going to say spring of 2024, and I can create. This book is now tagged to my spring of 2024. So when I go to my tags, I can see my little folder that I've created essentially, and I've got those books that I've tagged right there, so I can access them at any time. So yeah, you can save that and always refer back to it. If I go back to the home page, you're gonna see that under recently read, it's gonna be there too. But let's say this is next semester, or maybe now you're at a point where you're studying for the bar and you want to go back and look at some of the books that you looked at before. I mean, you can certainly run that search again, but if you wanted to tag it, if you tag it, it's not going to show under recently if it's been more than 2 weeks. You can always go back to your tags and then access whatever little folder you create or tag group, and then access that document again for that again. Any other questions here? No, if I have questions in my chat, I'll try to open it up at the end and see if I can answer some of those questions you might have. The understanding series are going to be things like, I'm just like it says, you're having difficulty understanding a certain concept or something. You just kind of like you're using it to study along with your class, or specific, you know, legal terms or something you may not understand in a class. If you're in the middle of or about to study for midterms and you want practice questions, what we can do is I'm going to rerun my criminal law search. And as you can see, besides the understanding series, there are going to be things like questions and answers, the Q&A. And these are excellent. Don't go out in the bookstore and buy them. You have access to them for free. So the Q&As are fantastic because you can also search them by table of contents, right? The types of questions, etc. I'm just going to go in or search for specific ones. I'm just going to go in and open it up. I'm going to click read to open up this particular Q&A. And here we go. I'm going to click on the right hand side. And skip through all of that. And here's my table of contents. I'm going to go to crimes. So these are some questions on embezzlement. And as you're going through, here's some, well, these are the, let's see. Here are some questions. So these are examples of some things. And then what you can do is you can always go to the table of contents. So here we had question number 78 in the Q&A. And I have my crimes topic. The nice part about this is as you're studying, let's see if I can go to my
Table of contents
Yeah.
has answers.
Yeah, there we go. Did I open it up? Yeah, it's got the answers, and I just feel like for some reason, I can't.
That bar is
At the bottom, here we go. So as you're going through the different topics, these are all going to be the questions. And as you go to the answer section, we're going to go to the topic of crimes. So you can always go back to these and you can see the answers. So here's the answer to number 78. The best answer is A. And the nice part about it is it tells you why that's the best answer, and answer B is wrong and why it's wrong. Because a lot of times you might answer it the wrong way and you don't know why you got it wrong. And the nice part about looking at it like this, kind of practicing with the questions, is being able to look at the answer and see why you got it wrong. So it's a really good study aid. And as you can see from the table of contents, it's sort of built so that the answers are at the bottom and you just have to kind of go back to that specific topic section. I wish it was hyperlinked so you can go straight there, you know, or maybe it does. No, it does. It didn't seem like it did, right?
It's a horizontal scroll.
Yeah.
Just click on the right side. Good.
Does it take you there? Or do you just have to horizontally scroll on the right? Yeah, I don't know why I'm struggling here on this thing, but you can see.
It's a little different.
Yeah, it looks a little different. You can easily what I would do is I would just kind of practice and take that approach to 78 and go back to that section that you're working on and look at it in your table of contents under the answers. Okay, so here's my answers on the crimes. And then of course the questions are at the top. And I would just practice as much as you can. You're gonna start noticing, and there are some professors who will take some questions for some of these Q&A books. And then you might recognize, it might change the characters a little bit or whatever, but these are also really good for studying for the bar because you want to know why you got it wrong. So this is a really good way to do it. So any questions? Right. I'm going to close this. So the Q&As are great for studying for midterms and finals, just getting practice, etc. So you can just search specific title or words, etc. You can add it to a tag. You can tag it I can save my spring. There it is. And I've got it in my spring 24. So now when I go to my tags, I've got 2 titles in my tags. All of your annotations and things like that, if you wanted to go back to them, is you can always go back to your annotations. So you've added a note somewhere and you want to refer back, oh, this is the question I'm going to ask my professor, and you've created annotations. You can always go to your annotations and you can view them for whatever title. And here I just highlighted in color. I didn't add any notes, but you have all your annotations there available to you. So. All right, so going back home, as I mentioned, you're gonna see all the recently read titles here at the top. Just don't freak out. After 2 weeks, they are gone. But if you've tagged it, you can always go back, and any highlighting and any notes you've added will be there. It's not gonna go away. It's not gonna, disappear or anything like that. There are a lot of different books in the library. So beyond studying for exams, there are all kinds of titles, including things that you want to be aware of. Things that they have available, like Rosanio 6 litigation guides, as I mentioned. If you view any of those, you can search by title. This is like the premier civil litigation treatise in Texas. You can search that, or you can search all volumes. So if you're not sure, this is 27 volume set. So if you come across a book in this digital library and there's more than one, and you're not really sure what volume, you don't have to search each individual volume. You can search all the different volumes at once and just type in the specific word or phrase and run a search, and it's going to give you the list of all of the different volumes and find quick, easy access. So digital library, as I mentioned, is available to you directly from the Lexis page. We also have a mobile device link. So let me minimize this for just a second. If I can go to move this. Go down to my PowerPoint presentation here. You guys can see it. So what you have access to here is, of course, being able to use it for study aids, etc. So exploring it, we kind of looked a little bit at it. We also browse books and study aids, and then we added some annotations and we added highlighting. You saw how I did all of that, and we created tags. And of course, going mobile is the other option, because how many of you walk around with your, laptop all the time, right? You might want to have a little on your phone, etc., and you have access to all of those things. So to access it, if you didn't access it from the Lexis page like I did, you could go directly and just save this, the digital library, TSU law, and then enter your TSU network and password. You can certainly do that. And then you can also go mobile. So going convenient is awesome. Just know that there is a digital library app on your Play Store or your Apple Store. It's available for both Google Play or Apple. Just know that when you open it up to log in, you have to activate it by entering a library code, and the library code is TSU law. Okay, that's the code. And then it lets you sign in with your ID and password, and you're good to go. Okay. All right, so this is what it looks like on going mobile. As you can see, it looks the same, and I just took some screenshots of my phone. So when I click the app, it asks you for the code, you click continue, and you're able to sign in. And once you sign in, it looks just like your laptop or desktop. You can search for books by title. You can look at the click and open them up or search. As you see, I've opened up this title and I've got ways that I can highlight, I can close. It looks the same way. I can add annotations, I can add some notes, I can go to the table of contents, add bookmarks. So essentially it works just like your desktop or PC or laptop. There are some support options. Of course, if you have questions about digital library, you can always get a hold of me. You can always go to and click on my name or any of your Thurgood Marshall School reps. You can view them. But if you click on my account, you also have that help option that teaches you how to use a digital library. And then of course you have Lexis 24 hours. So you can call the 1-800-LEXIS number and they can certainly help you there as well. And that's kind of it. It's a really short presentation that I wanted to share. But I will open it up And I'm gonna check right now. I'm gonna stop my share, or maybe I'll just look at my chat to see if there's any questions I might see here. Chat. Actually, I think more people are just asking about their sections.
they're identifying it.
Okay, so do I have any questions from anyone that's here in the classroom? Kelly, it looks like you've been using these, so it looks like you have a lot more experience.
Questions are great. Or help.
Okay.
Explanations are great.
Okay, any recommendations for any of the students on how maybe if anyone has used it, ways that they've used it for studying, et cetera? Because this is really good to be able to share some of that advice. Just, being able to access some of these books. So, going back to the homepage, the Q&As, as I mentioned, are going to be great for studying and practicing. And of course, understanding, you're not understanding something while you're going through the class and the professor's explaining it. This is a good way to get a better understanding of certain topics that your professor has covered in class. No questions, no advice anybody can give anyone else? Good or bad, hey, I had trouble with this or whatever, please speak up.
Have you all used this resource before?
Mhm.
Okay.
Some of it.
Some of it, yeah.
I was gonna ask, so the books that we have access to these books right now, right? We don't have to put in anything like any special codes or anything.
Just when you're setting up that mobile app, you just have to put in the library code, ask you for a library code or school code, and it's TSU law
Okay.
caps for the mobile app. For this one, to access it, I'm just showing you the easiest way is to just go to Lexis Plus. And when you go to Lexis Plus, it takes you to this page and it's hidden right up here. If you didn't memorize the website, and I'll show you all the website again, you can certainly save the website, but if you wanted access to it, just log into your Lexis account if you're comfortable using that and logging in, and the digital library is right there. So once you sign in one time, it's going to ask you to sign in, which is your network ID and password, same one you use for your email. You're in. And the next time you click digital library and you're right there. You can also save, as I mentioned, the actual website. And I wish I had logged into a student ID because I did put a little PDF. So on your student ID on your homepage, if you scroll, this is a faculty ID. Under upcoming train, there's a little link with a PDF on how to get started on, and it has the website if you want to save it, just a separate bookmark on your laptop or something like that. I just recommend you just go straight to the Lexis Plus and just go to this little page here. It's good to know because there's a lot of other tools here that you want to use, but digital library is right there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's also listed on the library's electronic resources page. There's a link to the Lexis Digital Library on there, on that page as well.
So you can do a direct link, a link from here or through the library. So there's lots of different ways. And if for some reason I don't remember, shoot me an email and I'll be glad to give you all that information, or come ask one of the librarians. I'll be glad to help you out. Any questions? We're ending a little early, so thank you so much for your time. I'm gonna hand it back over to you. I don't know if there's something going on in the chat. Oh, thank you. There are some thank yous. All right, awesome. Okay, turn it right over. It's simple. It's not a very long training. I was trying to stretch it a little bit. Trying to stretch it.
Thank you so much.
You're
Let's
welcome.
give Ms. Ramirez a hand. Through and see they had the table out today, so we always appreciate her service in our school. If there are no more questions, I'm going ahead and end this meeting at this time. And if you're on Zoom, once I end the meeting, a survey link will pop up. Please fill out that survey. We want to know how our library is doing and how we can better service you and give you all information. So thank you for attending, and please fill out the survey once I end the meeting. Thank you.
Anybody who didn't sign in and get a cup, come sign in and get a cup. Okay.